the bands that do well are bands that want a relationship.
Here we go. Welcome along to Inside the Music Industry, and my guest, the lovely Guy B, aka Guy Gellamy. Hello. Did I just say Guy Gellamy?
Guy Gellamy. You can call me what you want. A lot of people do.
Guy Gellamy. That would be a good one. Guy Gellamy. Yes, Guy B is easier to say.
It's easier to say.
Guy B easy, but that is your name, Guy Bellamy. You may know Guy in this group for great music stories. Got the T-shirt on there. I see, guys.
That was not deliberate. I've run out of clean clothes.
I've heard.
Yeah.
And your wife potentially is going to message you and ask if you've got the washing powder.
Yeah. Yeah. I always get messages saying, "Have you got the coffee in, matron, or whatever." She's not called matron. She's called Jo. But yes, I've got the T-shirt. I posted 140 of them this morning.
Yeah, so you were just telling me now. So where do you live? Just tell us.
I live
in the country.
I live in.
We don't need
Sussex.
your address.
I live in Sussex.
And is it a little post office then that doesn't really like it when you turn up?
Yeah, I live in the middle of nowhere. I'm a Cornish boy, so when I moved up to the home counties with work in my 20s, it had to be like Cornwall. So it's a little house in the middle of nowhere, so it feels like Bodmin.
Wonderful.
But not Bodmin. I don't like Bodmin. So lockdown ended. Lockdown started. I was at some little radio station. All the radio stations closed. So I set up a radio station in the caravan at the end of my garden, which borders a horse field. So it's completely mad. But anyway, the post office, Shaggy Dog Story coming out, the post office. I do these T-shirts once a year, and it's just a thank you largely to people listening to the show, because I think these music fans, and many of them in your group, they're heroes. They go to gigs, they buy merch, they buy 5 copies of an album, and I just kind of think, and I'm amazed a lot of them put up the Friday show. So once a year, I just say thank you and make a T-shirt, which they like. But the problem is, cottage industry, I'm not very good at parceling out, getting the names and addresses and the sizes right, because I'm not very good at that sort of thing. I'm not very good. So I eventually get sorted, and then I go to see Brian, who runs the local post office. Yeah. Now, it is the Vicar of Dibley. This is a post office that they sell Happy Shop of custard creams, probably the best value custard creams anywhere in the high street. They sell toilet. It's one of those shops that sells car engine oil, custard creams, and J-cloths. It's an all-in-one shop, but they have a post office counter.
You've got it all.
They don't do a lot of work, and then maybe once in a blue year, someone comes in and says, "Can I have a stamp?" And then once a year, Guy B turns up with a box of T-shirts, and they should be happy. They must make money for each item they do, but it's like
they've got to, but they've not actually
work. It's him again. He came
and then there's the
year.
queue. Yeah, the queue. Little old lady.
And you put all the T-shirts, this whole pile, 140 today, the whole pile of them. And
crazy.
They're doing it all thinking, they're all the same. They're all £2.30. Oh, that one's going to India. Oh, God, I've got to redo that one. And then, there's a few different countries, bit of Sweden, bit of Canada. And they think, you didn't tell, I've got to find it and put it out and put a different thing on it.
I've got to put a label on that and a different
do we have a customs thing? Mabel, can you go look for the customs stickers? Honestly. It's great. It's part of the occasion, and they hate me. It's like that scene in Highlander when Highlander is driven out the village with a big wood thing on his thing because he might be a heretic or something. That's how I feel when I take my T-shirts to Brian's post office. It's get them out the village.
You've done that today, so that's 140 T-shirts.
Yeah.
Is that it for the year then? Is that the amount?
You'll get one. I sent you. No, I do 2 batches. I did 100 last week, 140 this week. That's all I can cope with, matron. And then after that, there's about 25 left, odds and sods. And then it's people who forgot to ask for one, because the listeners, if you ask one, you get one. So, I forgot to ask one, that's why I didn't get one. Or sometimes the post doesn't arrive, which does happen with some people, and it's like,
okay, fair enough.
Although last year, one thing to tell you about our lovely post service, and I have to be careful what I say on air, but just to show how great the privatised post service probably is in this country, is we have a wonderful listener in India who got her T-shirt before someone in North London.
Fair play.
There we are. There we are. Marvellous.
Well, better late than never. I'm sure it arrived at some point. But so the T-shirt is it's not the one. Is it the one that you've got on? Or is it the one celebrating
It's
the
kind
modern
of,
rock?
let's put it up. Oh, let's put it up. Move my little
get yourself up there, love.
Here we go.
Yes,
there we go. That's my exercise for today.
I was just going to say. So what do you do? Right, so we're talking about this CD, Modern Rock,
beautiful.
Volume 3, to unite and inspire the soundtrack for a new era. And this is the third one that Great Music Stories has put out. So the first one was 2018, then 2 years later, 2020, you put out Volume 2. Yeah. And now 2022, it's time for Volume 3. So this is it's a free CD.
It's marvelous. Yeah,
it is.
It could be called Modern Marvelous.
Oh, look! It looks so cute that you've got it there. I've only got a picture on my phone.
I'm going to send you one. This is for you. I'm going to send it for you. I'm going to send this to you.
Please sign it.
If you've got people listening to your thing, why don't I send you a bundle?
Yeah.
Or so you can give them to your listeners, or your people can get in touch with
people in the group.
And I'll go to Brian with some of these.
Oh, Brian will love it.
And I'll say these are for Emma's friends. They're special ones.
Yeah. So, yes, you have this CD, and it is a CD to celebrate the amazing music scene that we've got right now.
Yeah, exactly.
You do it every 2 years, and this is the third time you've done it. So tell us about this greatness.
Well, it's... I find that most of the things I've done on Great Music Stories, they have never been planned, Emma. You can probably tell by my meandering talking about post office services. Nothing.
Bit of Brian talk. We love that, though.
And I've been doing a show since, 2015, turning up each Friday, banging out the tunes. Here's Tokyo, here's this, here's Trucker Diablo, whatever, just hammering the songs out, hoping a few people might listen to it and some people might find a band, the usual thing. And there's people all over the country doing it, giving up their time to help bands, which is amazing, everyone. But I just thought the thing that always has slightly touched me is we've always had quite an active Twitter group. And the aim is to make Fridays not just drum banging on bands, but to make it fun, and there's just always been, people come and go, which as with any show they do, but there's always been people who just turn up every Friday, and they're probably the biggest part. They're probably bigger than the bands for me now. It's that love that people have for talking to each other, for positive sharing of ideas, pulling each other's leg, no funny stuff. So I thought in 2018, let's give them something to say thank you. And I thought, let's make a CD. Because, that says here, there's far too many T-shirts around, Matron. So, and I also thought as well, there's quite a few now, and the Watford do a great one, credit to them, and I know Breaking Bands have done one, and I know the magazines do, so great, everyone's doing them. But I felt at the time, 2018, there wasn't really anything which celebrated the underdogs. On the scene we all love, there are bands who are flying and that's brilliant. That's a sign of success for bands starting out. But there's a lot of bands who've done one EP, maybe even got a physical music out, they're just band camping. And it's like, well, let's give them a moment where they're on a disc. And okay, it's only a Great Music Stories disc. It's not a charting thing. It's not a retail thing. It's nothing like that. But let's put them on a disc, do some really beautiful artwork and give people a moment. And that's what we did with the first one. And most of the bands on it, a lot of people had never heard of, hadn't even had an album out or an EP. And it's just great to give I've learned that with some of the stuff I've done. If you can give bands a confidence boost, it often goes a really long way. So we did that. And I did it as a humble thing. We did a run of just 200, I think. And they went within 3 days. And I thought, that was quite popular. And the postage actually cost more than the CD. Isn't it funny? CDs are so cheap to make. So then we did another one in 20, which was a bit more considered, which again, we did about, I can't remember, 700 or 800, did a bigger run. And again, they went well. And it's taking all the money off the table because in my view, if people are going to spend a tenner, spend it on a badge, go to a web store. Intermediaries shouldn't be, so my view is just share a bit of love and do that. But this third one, I'm actually most proud of because it's got the yellow and blue, because I had a break from radio at the start of the year and I came back because of the Ukraine thing. I felt, in arts and ballet and film and sport, lots of people in the arts world was standing up and saying something about it. And I felt the rock wasn't, was my view. It wasn't really talking about it. And I thought it was important, not being political, but these things of freedom and stuff are important. So I just wanted to do a platform, call it the Rock Show for Freedom, did a shout out, 30 bands got involved, just giving messages. You know, we all felt so helpless and stuff, just giving a message of support for freedom. A lot of people know people in Eastern Europe, and it's not changing the world, but it's saying we need to be relevant and say something. So it was kind of like a very small Woodstocky thing. It wasn't political. It was just, and it's beautiful. So we did end up doing 4 of them in total over about 8 weeks. It was a beautiful thing to do. I felt listeners wanted to hear it. I think bands wanted, even on a tiny platform, the chance to say something. So it's a real coming together. So we thought the T-shirt would celebrate. I'm not gonna. I've done one press up. Number 2. There we go.
I think that's a tricep, tricep dip that you almost
know more
did there.
About that than
I mean, look at that.
Just stop showing off.
That's a lovely tricep.
I know you're a
half
keep fit
dip
person. Yeah, my exercise really involves having bourbon biscuits with my daughter watching Heartland on DVD. That's good
exercise, Guy. I mean, come on, don't knock it.
Yeah.
And look
so we did T-shirt.
Cakes.
No,
I've got cakes and a cup of tea. I'm not doing any exercise.
I had a toffee.
But you are very naughty.
Because I've had a root canal and might be having another one.
Exactly.
So we did this. Did this as a T-shirt. Which we sending out to the bands who are on the show and people, listeners again who want one. It's part of the thing we do, and we have this sort of word art thing which has become for 5 or 6 years.
I love that.
We don't do it every year. So then we thought Modern Rock 3, and Modern Rock 3, it's not overtly protest songs, but I thought let's link it all into this project, and we got 16 songs. And I'm actually really pleased with this one because the first 2 editions of Modern Rock were bangers, and you and I know what 3-minute. That's a banger. That's a banger. Not necessarily heavy rock, but it's a 3-minute. They're just great
big radio
choice songs. And with this one, I wanted to do what I suppose the journey I've been on this year is it's more about the strength of the scene is culturally and everything. It's diversity. So I wanted to have songs that didn't fit a formula on this. So we've got 6 songs that are over 6 minutes. We've got one that's 13 minutes that wouldn't usually get on. We've made sure for me it's important to have a good representation for female artists. We've done a season on that about equality, and also run out to bands who just don't get put on these things. But the thing for me that's nice is all the songs reference the bands involved in the project, and some of them have done some really good songs about. The Amongst last song, Without Grace, for example, is such a good anti-war song. It's so lives and breathes 2022. So I wanted this to be a collection of songs that wasn't an easy collection of, we've heard all that on the radio, all the songs, which is good. But if you want to get new music in front of people, give them something they maybe are not used to. It's a playlist you wouldn't usually hear because the songs are not bedfellows. But in a funny way, it works. And
I agree. There's a lot of...
And I like the picture. I like the picture.
Great. You've
Yellow
done
flowers.
well there.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's that. So if any of your listeners want one, we've got.
We're running out, Guy. Don't tempt us. There's hardly anything left.
We've got about 80 left, and when they're gone, matron, they're gone.
So let's just quickly name check the bands that are on as well, and then we can talk about how bands get in touch with you and also how you choose to get these artists on. I'm thinking you might have had a lot of choice there. How people are going to get this CD.
Do you want to do the name checks? Because I'm going to put my grandfather glasses on, which are too small for my head.
I could get my glasses on, but I've got my headphones on now.
Come on, let's see. Oh, yours are best than mine.
I can't get it on.
You've got Prada glasses. I've got Happy Shopper glasses. Yes.
I don't know what they are.
Yes.
I'm taking them off. I'm just gonna. I'm gonna hold it out hold a bit of paper out like that. So, Black Lakes are kicking off the CD, which is great. And they're
great song.
And they're just really happy to be on there as well. You look at your social media and people just really get involved, don't they? And everyone's really pleased to be on there.
Lovely bunch of guys. And the nice thing for them
was a brilliant scene.
The nice thing for me with Love Rocks is their album they put out in Jan, which I just thought was a masterful album, and really nice guys. So it's a winning formula. The song we put on the album was a hidden track that didn't actually make the cut for the album, but it's a bonus hidden track. And when I heard the album, I thought it was the best. I thought for me it's the best song on the album. So I kind of made a mental note that little puppy's going to have another outing. So it opens this because I think it deserves it. Yeah.
Good. We
so
already
I'll shut up now. You carry on.
No, it's okay. But we've got 16 to go through, so bear that in mind. Amongst Liars, we have already mentioned they're my friends as well, and Without Grace, love that. Virgin Marys, a lot of people know Virgin Marys. That's their current single as well. The Meds, love those guys. And Burridge. Now she's new to me. I was just sort of checking out a few of the artists, and that's a lovely young lady with pink hair.
She's great, and she's on it because when I started my little lockdown run in this, at the end of the garden in the caravan, which was just totally Monty Python but hugely exciting. One of the rules I did, because I paid for the PRS and PPL, all that stuff up front. So I thought, well, I'm funding it. I'm not advertising. I want to keep it about the music. So one of the things I said April 2020 is the bands who are on are going to be the bands who want to be on. I'm not going to chase people if they've got an album out. I want people, young bands, to enjoy this space if they want to be on, because why would you pay to run a station that people don't want to be on? I'm not being funny if they want to be somewhere else. So what naturally happens is a lot of bands, it gave a lot of opportunity for artists to grow with us who we might have not otherwise seen. And Bea Burridge was one of those. She was a real part of a lot of the interviews we did on women in rock and mental health and things. And she just grew with the listeners. And then it was a really natural choice. And the music's great. And actually it sits up there with the Virgin Marys and Amongst Lions. So I thought, this is the whole point of the album. It doesn't matter if she hasn't had a hit single or whatever, or, she's an artist that's written good songs about something. You give them a good pegging. So number 4 on the album, she's great.
Yeah, I'm going to listen more to her.
And dye your hair pink. Dye your hair pink. You have to do that if you listen to it. You have to put pink rinse in.
Can't do that at purple rinse at my age.
Well, I did. Look what it did to me when my hair fell out.
There's nothing worse, guy. There's nothing worse. Moving on, the Autumn Killers as well. I know them. Dark Side. That is on there. The Lost Search Party, River Runs Dry.
That's a beauty.
And another band that I know well from working with Pluggin Baby, Matt Mitchell and the Cold Hearts.
He's a legend, isn't he?
Oh, and he's lovely.
He's got a good voice, that Matt Mitchell.
Yeah.
He's got a really good voice. And it's funny because, again, that was a song from his last album we had a bit of a thing with on Fridays. He calls it his Dire Straits song. It's just beautiful, great late night Friday song. And although he's got a new album out soon, plug there, kids, we needed something on the album that took it from a very quiet ballad to the next run of songs. We needed a seg, and that song was perfect. And I said, Matt, can we put a song on? Can we put that old song on? And I think he was really pleased because he's really fond of it. And he
does like that, yeah.
It's that story again that people put, people put singles out because they kind of think they're going to work on radio. It doesn't mean they're everyone's favourite songs.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to you with the track listing. It's like final score.
It's old enough and ugly enough, folks. Let's move on to Late Night Legacy with Dreams of You. New to me. I don't know these.
Lovely guys. Lovely guys. And the thing, they did a beautiful post the other day. And they were just chuffed to be on it. And I thought, well, that's why they should be on it, because it meant a lot to them. And they're lovely guys. I saw them at Wildfire. They opened it last year. And it says a lot when the opening band, you think, oh, never heard of these kids. These are good. And then by Sunday night, they're still one of your top 3 bands from the weekend.
Yeah, that's
really
amazing.
Good band. Really good band. Yeah.
Bands moan about going on first at things. And I'm like, what are you moaning about? Just get on. Just doesn't matter where you are on the bill.
Get on the stage and play the tambourine, matron.
Yeah. Now, I don't know the next band at all. In fact, I don't have a
Haver. Right, absolutely now. Gorgeous band. Yeah. Absolutely. Again, like Bea, a band, Carrie, the singer, she's an enormous advocate on a lot of important inclusion, welfare, well-being issues. Absolute legend of the grassroots scene. Is herself, I think, a broadcaster like us. You have to have her on. She's great. But this song, it was the most played song on my show in April. It's just one of those songs again. Probably never going to be a big hit single, but people hear it, they request it, they request it, they request it. So the song goes on. It's a great song.
It's big with you. So yeah, that's great. Haver, got you in my bones. Lynn Jackerman as well. She's on. She's
got a great voice.
She's a beaut. Yeah.
I often try and sing Lynn songs in the shower.
And how does that go?
Before work, when I'm having a Radox power scrub. And my girls usually, even though they're quite young, usually scream rude words at me along the lines of "Shut up, you fat baldy." But Lynn's one of these artists. You want to sing her songs because she sings them so well.
It's nice that she's inspired you to try.
Yeah. No, great voice and a lovely person.
Yeah. Followed up by another lady, Rebecca Downs.
Ace, and she's got a dog called Ralph, who featured on her recent interview. Woof.
Oh, you're big on the animals getting involved as well, aren't you? Like, what's the Amongst Liars cat thing? I mean, I must have been late to the party on that one, but it's all about the cats.
Liars, yeah. Thing is, when I do interviews, I never plan them. And you'll hate me for things. I never read the press releases. So it's like, let's turn it on, hokey cokey, off we go. And sometimes we do really serious ones. And sometimes it's a bit like ad-libbing. We go down funny roads. And when we go down funny roads, they work if the artist wants to play. And Leo from Amongst Liars always wants to play. He comes up with his own stories and then things happen. One of them is the Cat Cafe in Eastbourne, which is run by rock cats.
Okay. And now I understand.
Yeah. And there's also stuff about the band, Standard Rock, Nissan Micra. There's all sorts of fables from those interviews that just become threads that grow.
Yeah.
And everyone tweets
Part of
about
the family.
them, and everyone gets into these narratives, but no one actually knows what they're about. It's a bit like Stranger Things does rock and roll.
Oh, don't.
Do you like Stranger Things?
I tried to watch it the other day, and it was too scary. I just can't deal with it.
It is quite scary. I mean, my eldest daughter likes it. My youngest daughter is very much of the Heartland school of thought, which is let's watch ponies in the Rocky Mountains, and I find that very unchallenging. Which is nice if you want to have a switch up. I thoroughly enjoy it. We have a great time. Get the bourbon biscuits out.
It's all about the
biscuits.
We
don't need horror stories. We need the Rocky Mountains and Canada. And
beautiful. Anyway, where were we?
We were on Rebecca Downs is marvellous.
Oh, we are. Yes, we are. Lovely, Rebecca. And then moving on my list, Tarasco, who I'm currently working with at the moment.
Yes,
and
they're lovely lads, aren't they?
I've been spending quite a bit of time with Mark, the manager.
Oh, he's saucy. Does he eat custard creams as well?
It's not mentioned.
Did Mark make you the cakes you've got on your desk?
No, if he had made those, I'd be very disappointed because they are soggy as hell. I don't know
what. You would eat them because he's
on.
A client, and you'd say, "Mark, they're really interesting."
Just wonderful. But yes, that is a great song as well, isn't it? Tarasco's Pros. Not, as you say, like it's not that 3.5 minute radio banger. It's a bit longer, isn't it? But still not massively long. But I still think that's a brilliant song.
The song I played on Friday, which they let me play, which I think is going to become a thing with us, is Requiem. Is that 6-7 minute one they've done, which is, I mean, I listened to that, it blew my head off when I first heard it. And that's the beauty with this amazing grassroots scene is, and you'll know this far more than me, Emma, but, a lot of bands need to do the singles probably to get radio. But, I kind of think if people come up with these opus songs, which are almost more mature than their years, as really greatly arranged songs, you've got to get them out. I mean, so Requiem, Tarasco, brilliant album.
Yeah, it's coming out June 17th. So
and you're doing a fine job, Emma.
You're on
plugging.
It. Thanks. I've only been plugging them for one day, but it's going well, and we've already had your support.
Rock bands, these are the results you can get in 24 hours with Plugging Baby. All right? Okay. Is that a free plug for you?
It's great. I'm embarrassed now. But anyway, thank you.
Don't be embarrassed. It's marvellous.
Okay, let's move on. How many more have we got? The Bad Day?
The Bad Day. Used to be the Bad Day Blues Band, but they thought, let's have a shorter name, call it the Bad Day.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if by June they're just going to be called The.
Yeah, they might,
Top Guys, though. Top Guys, new album they've got out in June is marvellous too. So many albums out at the moment.
Yeah, so busy at the minute. 13 Stars, only a solider. or soldier? Is that supposed to be soldier?
Soldier. I can't
I
even
got a
read
typo
it.
here. It's either a typo or a word I've never heard of.
It
before.
was spelt wrong, but was corrected on the CD cover.
Oh,
which
that's
you need
good
to
then.
Put glasses on to read. It was only a solider.
Yeah.
Is the Cornish native language for only a soldier.
I was like, hang on a minute, I'm not dyslexic. Like, hang on, can I read? Yeah, like 13 Stars. I've heard of them. Yeah, they're good. Machine's Dream.
Canadian prog band, The Standing Field, and this is 13 minutes long, but I stuck it on pretty much at the end because it's a song very much. There's some songs at the start and end which very much touch on the issues you were seeing in Ukraine, and even though it's proggy, which people think is old-fashioned, this is distinctly not old-fashioned. It's very contemporary, but it became a song that washed through all the rock shows for freedom, so it had to go on.
It did. And the final
13
one.
Minutes, 13 minutes, you can make
a cup of tea.
You can make a Maxwell House. You can stir the granules, add the milk, and drink it, and have 3 biscuits before the song's over, and have washed it up and gone to bed.
And in radio terms, you can do everything in 13 minutes because usually in a normal radio situation, you're going to need 4 minutes to go to the toilet. You know, you got to get out of the studio, put your headphones down, get out of the studio, go through, find the toilet, do your business, come back, go through to the studio, pick up your headphones, and the song's ended.
It's a wee break song.
That's actually, you can do a number 2 in there. You could do anything in the time that song's been on.
30 minutes of Machine's Dream here. We could put out the traffic and travel, the weather, Brian the Butcher's adverts, the sponsored brownie cake baking contest, and read all the halftime scores from the Premier League. And that's before we even get into the guitar solo. Exactly,
you see.
But it's a brilliant song. It's a great song.
Place for everything.
Machine's Dream are marvellous.
Yeah, brilliant. Love that. And we finish
with Sari Shaw.
Yeah, Ordinary Life. And
just bring it down with a very, very gentle piano song. Because the thing I've kind of found from the Rock Show Freedom stuff, you want to have the protest songs like Amongst Liars and Black Days bringing sort of darkness, but I want to finish the album with a bit of light. And it's just a simple song about keeping going. And I think a lot of people, you know, COVID, pandemic, war, a lot of people have lost people. So it's a kind of soulful song.
Yeah, it's a beautiful end to a beautiful offering that you've got here. So, Modern Rock Volume 3.
Modern Rock 3, not many left.
If you do want one, dear viewer, right now, so how do people get this?
Best way to get a copy is...
get involved in the show on Fridays.
Well, yeah, because what I do on Fridays is... that's usually when I'm writing down stuff, because we have people who come in who don't social, who come in on what we call the red button, which comes into my email when I'm on air, and then I have a laptop with Twitter on. So that is usually when people can say they want one, and I've put the list down. People can get in touch through the website during the week, but I tend to make sure I do it through Fridays because it's important that people listen to the show get the T-shirts. So even if you've got people who listen to your thing who don't listen, they can pretend they do and get a T-shirt. But I just have to make sure it doesn't become one of those Facebook house parties and people who actually have been listening every Friday, they've all gone.
Yeah.
That would make me cry, and I don't cry very often. But I do put my glasses on and get reflective. So.
I'm feeling emotional.
And that for the news in your region.
Don't start me off. Paper shuffle.
Right. What else are we going to talk about? What else are we going to talk about?
So when's the next one then? 2 years? Are we going to stick to that routine that you've got?
Actually, and this could be a global intergalactic beam me up Scotty exclusive for the lovely Emma Pluggin baby Scott. Is there may be a sister of Modern Rock 3 coming out very soon. Because we have an old lady called Matron, who people who know the show know Matron. She was from my former place and she's quite a scary lady. And she likes to keep an eye on how things are going, has very strong views. And she expected to be consulted on the playlist and she wasn't. So she actually had an hour on the show the other week, really letting rip on the fact she's disappointed that and she's kind of saying she's coming up with her own bootleg version of Modern Rock 3. So there might be a Modern Rock 4, the Matron Deluxe Edition, coming out in the autumn.
I love it.
I could neither confirm or deny
no,
market rumor. I could neither confirm or deny.
Well, we've heard it here first.
But we may already have another 18 songs, so we'll see.
Wow.
We'll see.
I would like to hazard a guess that your inbox is massively full and there are hundreds of bands just waiting to be featured on the next great Guy B compilation.
I don't know.
Knocking down the caravan door.
Do you sometimes? I mean, you must
chasing
have
you into San Francisco.
Behave yourself. I left my heart in San Francisco.
I know.
This is actually Boreham Wood, actually.
Is it?
It looks like
don't.
Do you must have it? You must have it with what do you do? That
Yeah, and that's how I know how busy you are.
You've done your triceps and all you have, and then your cake bake.
Oh, you've done it again.
Walk the dog. That's enough. That's it. And then you open your email, think, what's going on in email land? And it's
There's too much going on in email land.
Where on earth do I start with all this, mate?
Oh, it's horrific. My inbox is horrific.
Where on earth do we start with that? I'm quite in favour of doing a Game of Thrones carrier pigeon thing, which is if you've got a request, write it on parchment and get a carrier pigeon to deliver it to me, because it might just thin out the volume a bit.
Yeah, and the pigeons, they get another attempt, don't they?
But they're not pigeons, they're ravens, aren't they? They're ravens in Game of Thrones.
See, I've never watched it. Yeah, I don't really watch things.
Okay, let's move on from ravens. You were going to ask me something else, and we started talking about.
I was just going to say, how would you choose? I mean, to say like you've got 100 bands that you need to then, whittle down to 16. It's difficult. It's difficult, isn't it?
What I try to do, and I'm no expert on it. I just do what works for us on Fridays. I've always done this since the start of what I did. Is I'm really interested, and you'll get this. I mean, you've done big radio things, but I'm really interested in that magic that happens when a song just grows on its own. So I get press releases like yourself and other people, the great stuff coming through. I always have bands who get in touch, and I've always gone out hunting myself. So you always have a list of songs, and what I try and do each Friday is just to put a playlist together that is interesting, eclectic, hangs together, but isn't totally predictable. And I always try and make sure songs get an outing if they deserve one, because the song's interesting, not because they've got a ninth album out.
Yeah.
And I just put it. I've always done it. I just put it out there. I try and talk about it, try and make the show fun, and then I just wait to see what songs people react to. And it always happens that. I mean, that song from A Siren's Fall, She Runs With the Wolves, which was Single of the Year with us.
Yeah, that was one of mine. Oh my God.
That's one of yours. That's one of yours. They were on the show.
Amazing.
That song was on the show.
Oh my God.
I think for something like 56 consecutive weeks. And that I played it I'll give a song 2 or 3 weeks and then it's down. If people start calling it, it's the same with These Days from Scarlet Rebels, which we got about 6 months before it was issued. Yeah. Just because I had a feeling, and Digby said, yeah, you can give it a run out. And it went wild, and it was on every single week for pretty much the whole of the second half of last year. And for me, that's what I find interesting. And sometimes it is the songs that are intended as radio singles. Sometimes it isn't those songs. But I find for me that exciting that people can form a bond with a song, and there's no streaming, there's no YouTube films. It's just the old-fashioned hearing it, talking to friends about it, liking it, wanting it on the show again. So in some ways, we create a kind of, not an anti-hype, but an alternative existence where songs can flourish because people like them, which is, for me, how it should be. So when it comes to picking this, actually what I do is I reflect on which songs have been, so like the Machine's Green song was the first song on because it suddenly had been on 12 or 13 consecutive shows as the closer because people felt it resonated, and therefore it's on the CD. So I think in some ways the songs pick themselves. What I try and do when I pick the CD is think which songs are a reflection of songs that have had a journey with us, let's say 3 or 4 months.
And that's what we want.
And that's what we do.
Yeah.
And it's very marvellous.
It is very marvellous.
It's very marvellous,
It's almost legendary, isn't it, my love? So it's something that we, I want the grassroots bands, and I want musicians in this group and bands that I work with. I want them to understand that the importance of being on your show, and it's not just you. You know, I'm not just going to
lots of little shows.
There's a lot of guys out there. Thankfully, only one proper guy. But you know, bands.
Thank God, Lily would say. Thank God, there's only
as your kids would say, and your wife.
There's only one custom cream munching guy B.
And that's all anyone needs. Where was I? But yeah, what I find bands though, they want to go up here before they've done any of this bit. Just want to be up there, and they're like, no, this is fun down here, and just building up and up and up and up. And it's frustrating, you know. It's that before I take on any client, and you know, there's other PR people like Robert Stampede. He's big on the managing expectations, and we have many discussions about it. And we work alongside each other on various campaigns, and I say, oh, you know, if Rob comes to me and says, I've got this band, I've said that you could do radio and I'll do press, and I'm like, but Rob, do they know how hard this is? And he says, oh yeah, I've fully briefed them how hard it is in the real world and the music industry. I was like, okay, fine, as long as they've been briefed, otherwise I'll have to do it. And I do. That's one of the big things before taking a client on. I'll always say, you know what, this is not, you're not going to be up there straight away. This is a building thing, and it can take 5 or 6 singles before you might get on Kerrang or Planet Rock or something. And then often it's like, yes, that's all they really wanted, but was it that big? Did it actually change that much? Whereas if they were to get on your show over a 52-week period or something, but the thing is, when you join your show and other shows, I do a show on a Tuesday night as well.
Is it Primordial you're on?
I'm resting on Primordial at the moment. I'm resting. I mean, is
that like Sun Lounger with a Jackie Collins?
I'm on
resting?
hiatus.
Okay.
Saturdays are too busy for me.
Very good, by the way. Jackie Collins very good.
I haven't got time to read.
Okay. So where are you on now?
I'm on Kinetic 7 Radio. It's a Pluggin Baby radio show. So it's literally just, you know, a load of Pluggin Baby songs, and I just pre-record the links and it goes out.
I think as I put my Brian Hanrahan's on, I think you should probably have a show on Great Music Stories.
Well, as long as you put it, or I don't have to do anything, mate.
That'd be marvellous.
I haven't got for all that.
We could have an advice to young bands clinic.
We could do that. We can do that anyway.
And the one thing I'll tell you, because Matron's involved in the cake baking quality assurance, you won't be getting dodgy cakes on our radio station. That's
good to know, because mine are very soggy bottom.
Do you like Dundee cake?
I don't even think I've had a Dundee cake.
Matron can do amazing things with Dundee cake. Don't worry about it. We've got it covered. Black Forest Gutto, purple velvet. If you want to go and do some triceps over there, you can. But
I'll have to.
Basically, a lot of cake products coming in the rock camp.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good to bear in mind.
Anyway, let's get back to the serious bit, because it was really good what you said. You were talking about bands wanting to go there.
They want to go there, but yes, it's all about that relationship and being part of that. It's like a family. Great Music Stories is like a family, and you've got to be in that family, and then you can move on to another family, you know, and sort of, you know, move around a bit. But it's very important. So, how do independent artists get their music to you? Is it all through
you, Emma?
Not just through
Emma. Hire Emma and Rob, and the world will be saved in 24 hours.
To be fair, you know, I'd rather teach people how to do it themselves now. But anyway, we haven't got time for that.
I can imagine that line between like you and Rob, who are a great double act. I'm thinking of that scene from that Queen song Flash. It's like, Rob, I love you, but we only have 24 hours to save the earth. Dun, 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 dun. Like that. You could be like an ad for the two of you. It's pressing.
Rob's going to love this. Let's tag him in. Oh, I love Stampede.
Although Rob is Dale and you're Flash, just get that clear now. You're the main character.
Even better. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Let's just
Thanks
get that out there. Okay.
Thank you for that.
So what bands should get in touch?
How do they? Is it via the website, or is it an MP3, or is it an email? What's going on?
My thing, and it's probably because what I do is totally uncommercial. I'm not selling anything. You can't buy anything. You can't advertise. For me, and that's just the way I do it. I feel as I try and do, you know, some decent broadcasting, and for editorially to hang together. I don't want commercials to take over. Even on community stations I've been on in the past, really, when it comes to board meetings, they're talking about P&Ls and advertising and revenue. And for me, the music has to be first. So everything else is off the table. So it is about the music. I think the thing for me, because it's not commercial, is the thing that I'm absolutely about at Great Music Stories is relationships. Music, not marrying
Not
people
putting it
and
out
stuff.
there.
No. But relationships, and the bands that do to a band or artist, the bands that do well are bands that want a relationship. Now that doesn't mean to say we're their favorite. I'm not, I'm the first to say there are dozens of people out there doing a great job, and we need everyone on form for this scene. So it is about everyone. But for my show, it's about bands. So bands who want, and Siren's Fall, a great example. When we picked up She Runs with the Matrons, it was an old song, but we picked
She Runs with the Matrons.
And it was from you. It was from you. I went through one of your old emails. We picked it up and put it out.
I know.
What's this? Immediate reaction. We then said, do you want to do an interview? And they were great fun. And that relationship grew because they keep in touch. I keep in touch, as well as doing band promos. I've always got themes on, like with the Women in Rock series or the this or the that. And I do a shout out, who wants to get involved? The bands that want to get involved, you tend to remember because they want to put in. Yeah. So bands that want to invest in a two-way relationship actually do really, really well. And bands who, and then if they do interviews, they're going to get playlistings. So if they get playlistings, more people hear them, more people request them. So it is a kind of, there's definitely a kind of approach I do. And the bands to a band that do really well, the bands who invest time. And Monks Liars won Band of the Year last year. They won Band of the Year, I would say, because for 2 years they said yes to every interview. They wanted to contribute. They engaged with listeners during the show. They actually took time, even if it's just 2 seconds, say, hi guys, thanks for tuning in. Great to see you requesting our songs. Because they did that, so it was a two-way. I pushed them, but then they put back in. People love them. And the thing for me, which I think the thing I would say for young bands is, at the moment, Late Night Legacy, Lost Search Party, Tarasca are all getting that kind of early lift with us where we're beginning to give them the push, which is no different to what we did with like Wagons and Crows back in 16 when they were relatively not hugely known on media. And so you've got to give them that thing. But I think the thing for me, which I would say to young bands is, and this is the thing for me that I find weird in what I do, and this is a sort of gone with the wind moment. Is there does seem to be a sense in a lot of bands. I don't know if it's what advice they get or whether they've been on courses, and you can tell a lot of people. It's like, to your point, we just want to be up here. We want to be in these places. We want to be. That's where we want to be. And they have this sort of thing, which is the staircase to get there. And, I'm probably the second step at the bottom, where people wipe their muddy feet. I know my place. I know my place. It's fine.
I disagree, but carry on.
But the point is, it doesn't. But my whole point is the point. If you take the ethos of there being a staircase, is at the top of the staircase is a big slide because things always go up and down. Hello, woof woof. My sense is, for all bands, it doesn't matter what size you are, it doesn't matter where you are on your journey, every band just needs to focus on having allies. And whether you're a band on your 8th album or you're a band on your debut EP, what you need to think, it's not that we've got this or we've got this, is we've got 10 allies, 20 allies, 30 allies, whoever the people that support the band, and look after them equally. And even if you have favourites, the trick isn't to let people know who your favourites are. The trick is to give everyone the sense that they're valued. Because the thing I find doing what I do is I feel it when bands who have gone up and progressed through GMS and gone on to other things, when you suddenly don't hear anything and you're doing features and they don't want to get involved and they never even get on Twitter and say hello to listeners. Because what that happens is the band loses you, and so it's really important is, and I've dealt with some big bands like Spike from the Choir Boys and Nick from the Casting Crew, some big artists. I'm forgetting all the other ones. I'm not going to name drop, and they're probably more, and the guys from The Answer, lovely guys, and they're as good as any young band who are starting out at being in touch with fans, because it's just what they do. They connect, they say thank you, they keep in touch. If you're doing a feature, they swing by for 5 minutes and say hi to listeners. And it's equivalent to meeting fans at a merch stand after a gig. It's that sense of commitment. And I think every band I don't think it's about going up a ladder and how you go up a ladder. I think it's just about how you grow your base. And as you grow your base, you just never leave anyone behind. It doesn't matter whether it's me or Planet Rock or Forest FM or whoever or ERB. It doesn't matter.
Never leave anyone behind.
Yeah, don't leave anyone behind. And I'm not saying
so nice,
but I think it's important because I've also seen work that other stations have done and other reviewers have done and photographers have done, giving their nights up to take pictures of bands. People giving a lot of their free time to help other people. And the thing is, none of them are stepping stones. They're all equally valid. And I think I think bands who have this thing, we just want to be here or here, and everything's a means to an end, it's a really bad business model. I think the right business model is to think success means you just have more allies, and your allies, you look after them. You just always have time for them. And remember the people that were with you at the start, always welcome new allies. And therefore bands need, for me, to see part of their job as looking after their allies. I mean, clearly you're there to advise them, and other people like Rob and Claire at Central Press will do a great job to advise and guide and broaden their networks and get them in front of new people and to be an interface, and all that stuff's brilliant. But, you know, I think bands just need to always have a view, which is, you know, I've just seen it a few times. Bands that have done well when they had no one running them, 3 years later when things are going well, it's like a bit busy. It's like, you're never too busy. Everyone you know, it's not so much me. I see it on Friday shows. And the one thing I will say for bands who want to be on the show, this is where Late Night Legacy, I'll name them, and Tarasca and Lost Search Party and Awesome Killers are doing really well at the moment, and Rebecca Downs, guess what? They're all on the CD. I'm not bothered about people talking to me on Twitter because I'm effectively quite a boring person, and even my extra large T-shirt is a bit tight. But what I do take an interest in looking on when my show's on Friday is which bands are talking to the listeners.
Yeah, I
really look at that, and if I see Matty from Dead Blonde Stars is great, Pete from Copperworm is great at doing it. If bands, it's not that they're listening to the show, but if I can see through the show they're actually taking time to talk to the people who ultimately will buy their record to go to their gigs and advocate them, then I think, okay, we'll put them on the show. We'll give them we'll pull the CD out as we're watching it happen. So I think there is a thing, you've got to be in it. Yeah. And it's part of the job is to be in it. It isn't just recording songs and doing Facebook Lives and putting posters up. It's actually talking to people. Yeah,
100%.
That's my view. And I might be wrong. I'm a fat old bloke and no one cares what I think, but that's how
we love you. Don't be so silly.
That's what I do.
100%. You know, I say to my clients for Radio Pluggin, I say, you're going to get shitloads of airplay, right? Your job is to keep up with it. Your job is to talk to the DJs. Your job is to like their Facebook page. It's to comment on, you know, anything that you're tagged in on. And if you can't keep up with it, then don't take out a plug-in campaign, go and do it yourself, you know. And, you know, it does frustrate me because some of them still don't do it. But
they probably
they're the ones that don't get the most out of it.
But they will probably, I'm not being funny, they will probably be the bands that aren't around in 3 years' time.
You're right.
Because, and I've seen it. I mean, I see it at the end of year, band of year vote we do is, it's done differently. So it cannot be a sort of a big spam Facebook fan group thing. I don't even know if I put it on Facebook, but the people who listen really drive it. And the thing that's interesting when I see the results, you're always going to have some bands do well because they've got big fan groups. It's always going to happen. But predominantly, people vote for the band that's been part of their life for the year through the show, but maybe through other things as well, and through the show go and see them at gigs. Yeah. And there's always a parity that, you know, we have quite big bands that don't even feature in our top 50 now, end of year, because they're not on the show. And there are bands who want to be on the show and want to get involved and want to talk to listeners and be part of conversations. And the thing is, people remember that. And that's why the results of our band of the year are sometimes a bit different. And it's only what we do. I mean, another outfit will do it in a different way. But I do think the thing for bands is to see part of your job. You know, if you're a CEO of a company, part of your job is to go and meet staff and meet customers and meet stakeholders and shake hands, do public appearances and go to those evening dinners you probably don't want to go to be the face of your brand. If you're part of a band, that's part of the gig.
It is. It's a big old job being in a band and trying to.
It's a big old job, and then I know it's hard.
Meet people and everything.
And then you've got to make time to play the banjos and do the serious stuff. But
yeah.
I think talking to
part of it.
So and bands getting on, it's just being interested, being available, and the thing that's interesting for me is, I suppose with the playlist I do try and play new music. I mean, when I started in 2015, it was all about new music. So we're discovering all this stuff that no one was really, a lot of media weren't playing. It was all quite, it's hard to think back in 15 and stuff. People like Scam and Texas Flood and Wagons, Amorettes. There were so many bands that just weren't really getting the recognition they deserved. And, and the bands were out there. They'd been going for a few years. And so that was exciting. I think the penny's dropped. Everyone knows there's lots of bands out there. So what I try and do now is, rather than always playing all new songs every Friday, because, not every new song is great, is I try and nurture bands. So Without Grace by Amongst Liars, for example, has been really picked up by listeners. And I think it's had over 20 plays in like 4 weeks. So what we try and do is, I think you've got to do more than just play a song to help a band. You've got to sometimes do a double play, or you've got to play it a few times, make a gag on who wants this again, create a bit of theatre around it, and then build it. You've got to build it, and then people go and discover. So I try and do that, and I just try and do it on the bands that want to be on the show. I'm sure there are bands who've tried getting in touch with me on Facebook and I've missed their messages. It's an imperfect world, but I try and give everyone a kick of the ball. I mean, Standing Giants. Is it Standing Giants? One of yours?
Standing like.
Stand
amongst giants and standing
statues and stand amongst matron. Exactly.
Yeah, I've got quite a few stands in my.
So it's like I remember I got your emails on I think a Friday, and I was just choosing the songs. I do the interviews first, and I work out last for the proper bit of the early show what I'm going to put out. And I remember getting your email. Yeah, stick that on, and that's as long as it's vaguely interesting. Everything goes out there that I can put out there. But the question of whether it's one play
or 100
or it's a run is down to what the listeners do.
Yeah.
And I think I can't think of an occasion where listeners, it's like these days from Scarlet Rebels, who were really big on Twitter last year. We did a lot with them, the great guys. But it is a two-way thing. You see it happening. It's like the fans or the listeners engage with a song and say, I want this again, and start writing lovely words about a song. And that gets it more plays, but that doesn't go on forever unless the band also is engaging with the listeners, because then people stop requesting it. So this is where, and it's funny. And I look back, and also the other thing I do is I do look back on Twitter. It's very hard to keep up with it, but every 3 or 4 months, I'll look back on the Twitter feeds on a Friday. And, I just have a look at which bands, not are talking to me, but are talking to listeners during the show. Yeah. And I make sure that the bands who are engaging do get on the show. And bands that don't engage, not being funny, don't need to be on the show.
That's right.
That's how it works, isn't it?
It's the game. We need to be playing the game.
Play the game, everybody play the game. It's a Queen song. It's a good song, but not the best.
The singing was slightly worrying there. But no,
I haven't started the Celine songs yet.
On that bombshell, though, Guy, I think it's a great time to say, whoa, we've talked for quite a long time
we have
here.
Rambled a bit, haven't we?
I mean, I'm just minding my own business, trying to think of.
Do you want to come on? Do you want to come on my show next? Can we have you on my show? Well, do you want to come on a Friday with Guy B and do one of our specials? Would that be nice?
Yeah.
I think I
could probably do that. I might be a bit scared, but I'll get there. I have to coax myself into doing these things.
And I think what we could do with you, because everyone's got, Amongst Lions have got the Cat Cafe. I think it could be the fitness lounge with Emma, because a lot of us rockers are a little bit,
and
it could be gentle exercises. Do some exercises while listening to the rock show and lose a few ounces.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not exercising much, but I've got a couple of dumbbells down there on the floor. I could lift those up.
Then let's have a dumbbell hour. Let's all do some dumbbells while we're listening to Gasoline Outlaws. Let's just do this gently, everyone. And if it's a ballad, you do it slower.
Yeah.
Because Late Night Legacy, do it slow. It's the Lost Search Party. If it's those damn pros, it's big energy. Yeah.
We can do some yoga and we can do some jumping things. It'll be good. Okay.
Marvelous. It's been really nice to speak to you and to all your beautiful listeners. And
thanks for coming on. Brilliant album. You can't buy it in the shops, but you can ask Guy for a copy if there's any left. If there's any left, and T-shirts, of course, and listen on Friday. And you can ask Alexa to play you if you've set Alexa, up a skill. I presume. I don't know. It may work or it may not.
It does work. We have quite a few listeners. I get all the things on the screen when it's going out on Friday. We have quite a few on Alexa. On the website. And I know, look, I've been really aware there's so many other clever things I could do. I could get an app and I could get this and a cheese and pickle sandwich and I could do this. What it's like. It's a big enough thing to even make the time.
There's too many things. There's too many things going on.
It's on Alexa or it's on the website. And the other thing with me is if you miss it, you miss it. We don't put it on Mixcloud. If you miss it, cheerio.
Oh.
And that's what it should be like.
Got to be in it. Like the olden days of radio.
You've got to be in it to
win it. None of this replay.
We're not doing it for listen again. And a lot of interviews don't get listen again. It's tune in or go down the bingo. Not a bad idea, actually, doing Great Music Stories bingo.
We could take it with us. Well, you can take it with you. You can listen online and do the bingo. Anyway, let's not get involved in that.
Let's leave it there.
Thank you very much for taking time out.
Lovely to speak to you. Thank you, everyone.
All the bands that are on the CD. Thanks for coming on, and we will see you, no doubt, soon.